Hi, guys. Welcome back to another weekly reading. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the week of Monday, October 6th to Sunday, October 12th. But you guys know these readings are timeless and signless, so it actually does not matter when you're watching this video, and it doesn't matter what natal signs you've got in your natal chart. As long as it resonates, then there's something for you. And if it doesn't resonate, you're here. So I would invite you to take a step back, come back at a later time once the energies have had more of a chance to materialize and see whether you can recognize them as being something that is designed for you. Okay. Because as you know, energy occurs obviously first in the energy space and energetic space. And then with enough time and intention, it will be made manifest. Okay. So anyway, excuse me, before I jump in, it was brought to my attention by spirit, but anyway, I realized that I probably should mention this, but just in case you guys didn't know, I only operate on this channel on Instagram, which is called at Awakening All You Lightworkers. Always make sure that it's spelled properly when you look it up. If you're accessing me and there's a misspelling of that name, then you're not on my page. You can also find me only on YouTube, and my YouTube, I guess, channel is called A Compassionate Heart School. Again, make sure that, oh, there it is. Boom. Make sure that it's properly spelled. And the only place that I do official business, only place right now that I take transactions is through Etsy. And on Etsy, my business name is A Compassionate Heart, period. That's it. A compassionate heart. Okay. So you can find all of that by linking to any one of those three sites that I told you. All of my socials are there. If you're connecting with me in any other way, it ain't me. Okay. So I just wanted to say that. And with that being said, let's jump into the session. Oh, you know what? It just as I was about to jump in, um, I just got the impression or the, I guess, intuitive mention that winter is coming up. Now, I know that it's like, Jay, we're heading into fall. And I would say to that, I know, because fall is my actual favorite season. So you know that I'm aware of that. However, the message that's coming through is that winter is coming up, and it seems to actually be encompassing fall and winter as we would observe it to be for whatever reason. And the reason why I mentioned that is that the energy is calling for us as we go into winter to start preparing for it. Now, yes, of course, that means making preparations in the physical space, but of course, I'm here, I work in a non physical primarily. And so I feel that energetically speaking, it's about the non physical space. So if you feel called to work with me to get energy work for whatever reason, I'm not sure exactly what about this quote unquote winter season is prompting this message, but if it's for you, oh, okay, they just said deep clean, deep clear. Okay, so if that's for you, and I'm getting immediately as I said that, I'm feeling into somebody here. Definitely getting four people. I don't know which four you are, God bless you, but if you feel called, come meet up with me. Meet up with me, yeah, I guess in a non-physical, but hit me up on Etsy because that's where I do my business. But in particular, as I was feeling into the four, I'm getting a toxic energy around the nasal area. This is in the non-physical anatomy, by the way, even whether or not it has manifest or expressed itself in your physical space. I'm getting in like a toxic kind of energy in your nasal cavity region, nasal region, and into the not quite yet into the throat area, but it does correspond. Look at my throat just as I'm talking. It does correspond to the throat chakra, but I'm feeling it kind of moving its way down, but it's right now that toxicity is centered in the nasal area, nasal cavity area, and in the mouth going back towards the top of the throat. So like you can think of that space as in the back of the throat, like at the right at the back of the tongue before it hits downward. Okay. So whatever that is, and it feels like a little I don't know, sorry to use this word, but vomity is the word it kind of wants to come through. So anyway, that's just specifically what I'm feeling. But energetically speaking, if anybody here feels called to work with me, then you know exactly where to find me. You can come check us out on Etsy at A Compassionate Heart. Yeah. Compassionate heart, heart, heart. All right. Wow, my throat. See, what is this? You know what? Let's take a moment and do a little energetic clearing because you guys know me. We're here for it. Um, let's do some energetic clearings. I'm getting to start in the fingertips, interestingly, and work our way inward. So I'm going to get a little bit quiet just because weirdly, on some non-physical level, I feel like I just want to work quickly in all of your fields and instead of telling you what I'm doing. So let me just go silent for about 4 minutes. And if you would like to receive, go ahead and say, yes, please, or just say no right now, and then you can rejoin us after. Okay, so let's take a quick moment. Okay, hasn't been quite 4 minutes, maybe about three something minutes, but as it continues to work through, I do want to let you guys know that while I was in the field, I was picking up on um, energies that needed to be cleared. I was getting sugar, I was getting gluten, which feels like a glue-like substance in the field. I was also picking up on what felt like dangerous energy, and the form that it took was like pulling up razors out of the nasal cavity and out. So, of course, remember these are just constructs, energetic constructs, which at the energetic level will be blockages and take form, right? But even, and then of course in the physical body we know what form looks like, illnesses, all of that, but anything that you can find within your energetic anatomy or your non-physical bodies and anything that you find in your physical body, those are both just reflections of, and let's say derivations or forms, manifestations is probably the best word, of some belief that you hold. And so when we talk about healing, we're talking about healing perceptions. And when you heal your perceptions, in other words, when you shift your perception to one that is founded within love and within quote unquote what is real, which is which has value and substance as observed from the highest point of perspective. Down here in the 3D, we're at a very low point of perspective. And so we see what is real and we also see what is not real. But the two appear the same to us down here, physical, because they both stem from beliefs. But only one of those things, anything founded within the frequency of love, and that can be viewed from the highest perspective where truth is, right? Those are the only things that have substance to it when viewed from higher perspective. So that's why we call those real with a capital R, right? So when we're coming down lifetime after lifetime and we're healing our emotions and our thoughts and our bodies and all this stuff, we're doing all that, but it's all towards the same space, which is to remove blockages to our ability to recognize reality with a capital R, to recognize what is of God and to distinguish it from what is not. So anyway, all this stuff that I was clearing from your energy field, those are all your beliefs that have crystallized to a certain degree so that they can be found and take as form inside of your energetic anatomy. So we were doing a lot of that clearing. Thank you so much, guys. Another thing that I wanted to say, what else did I find in there? A couple of things, but yeah, it's a collective space, so I don't want to go too much into it. I feel like if I'm remembering right, maybe I feel like I found some father stuff in there as well. Anyway, so let's continue moving on. But I just wanted to make sure that we did some clearing there so we can get into this space. Yeah, I just heard somebody ask, is it okay? I heard one of you guys, God bless you, ask, is it okay if I'm drinking coffee? For the person who asked, who in a non-physical, whoever you are that asked me that, I'm going to feel into your field really quickly. Is it okay that I'm drinking coffee? The answer to you is yes. Yes, it is. However, for you in particular, I would say no more than 3 times a week, like I guess 3 days a week is, and we count the week as 7 days, by the way. No more than 3 times a week for your specific energetic system and your specific physical body. But as I was going to say specific physical body, I was like, ugh, because it's more about your energetic system, and that will become that's acting as the blueprint for what will be the carbon copy of your physical body. So right now it feels more correct to tell you to 3 times a week for the coffee, because the way that it interacts with your non-physical body that will be the threshold, or the what's the word, maximum, for you to stay within a healthy range for yourself. Okay. So if you drink more than that, in other words, if you drink more than 3 cups of coffee, or 3 days, or whatever it is, 3 times a week, however that shakes out, what will happen for you in particular is that you will throw off your balance in your non-physical energy anatomy, and that will precipitate downward into the physical body and cause issues. Okay, so just somebody asked me that. Thank you. I hear somebody just asked me about their right foot in particular. You have a right sprained ankle, a right ankle issue. For you, the right ankle corresponds to a mother issue, right? People pleasing and not being able to, kind of like this. Look at this card. Yeah, look like it literally. It corresponds for you, this particular person who has a physical ailment that is some type of sprained ankle, especially in the right foot. But I do see issues of that energy also present in the left foot in the non-physical. So I wouldn't be surprised if you don't have any physical ailments in the left foot, but you definitely do in the right foot, probably a sprained ankle for you. This has to do with a mother situation where you are struggling to assert yourself and be that straight person for yourself, meaning like be in your own authority. That's the word. Integrity, look, integrity, authority. See how it's like a straight energy, right? Otherwise you're teetering and tottering, and like people pleasing. Of course you're unsteady on your feet, so to speak. Of course it will manifest for you in some way that has to do with your balance. In your case, I'm feeling it is a right ankle thing. You definitely want to work on the energies there, whoever you are, because you don't want it expressing also in the left physical foot leg, even though you do have it already in your left leg or foot area in the non-physical. Because I do think in particular with the left side of your body, particularly your leg, you've got some father issue stuff, and you don't want those two energies mixing so much. All right, anyway, let's move on. Let's get into the collective. So thank you so much, you guys. As I said that, I saw like there are other energies wanting to get messages. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to cut you guys off, but God is good. But yeah, let's get into the collective energies. All right. All right. Oh. Oh, okay. First word I just got was general store. Okay, so hold on. General store, really quickly. This is again another specific energy, so let's put it out there. General store. I mean, I think I know who this is for, but remember, how this hits you guys at the physical level, like the details. It could be completely for anybody or anyone that I don't know, but I'm getting in particular, you're being called to recognize what has to do with you and what does not. So here we have, down here, we've got the Four of Pentacles, right? So usually with the Four of Pentacles energy, it could carry a message along with it about holding on too tight and needing to let something go. It could also be about miserly energy, whatnot. But what I'm seeing crossing it here is the Five of Wands. So a lot of conflict. And I do see somebody here that is close to you that is getting involved in conflict outside of your realm, that it does seem money oriented or stability oriented or some type of structure oriented that has nothing to do with you. Could be community stuff, it could be about how to spend money, whatnot. But what I'm being asked is for you to take the helm here. Is being shown as this Knight of Pentacles. Notice the Knight of Pentacles, all this energy is behind you. It has nothing to do with you, who you are super cutely standing on this ledge here looking out over green pastures. And so the reminder here from Spirit is for you to take things in for yourself. So yes, we do, and this is a general message for everybody, a general reminder, we're big on this channel. Remember that yes, we do share a collective space with the rest of the world at this time. However, remember, not everything has to do with you. Not everything is for you. And say it with me now, not everything is about you. And yes, even though everything affects everybody else, because we are in reality with a capital R, as seen from the highest view of perspective, we are one self, right? In this current lower plane space of existence, right? We are having an experience, a false experience of individuation. And because of that, each of us has our own individuated plans, soul curriculum. We've got our unique past life history stuff. We've got unique stuff going on around us with the current life traumas, beliefs, thoughts, all this stuff, our own personality matrix, doggone it, our own body even, right? So just remember that it's okay for you to follow your dreams, is what I'm saying here. And sometimes what a lot of people fail to realize is they cannot do two things. You can't follow your dreams and give the most to it if you are occupying your point of focus. In other words, adopting and enrolling in an identity, a self-concept that puts you somewhere in alignment with something else. So this is what we've been talking a lot about on this channel, about needing to be the steward of your own health and well-being. And it starts with understanding that yes, you're having a collective experience. However, it is your responsibility to tend to your own garden. Without tending to your own garden, without knowing thyself, without operating mindfully and seeking your own inner authority, you cannot be of meaningful assistance to outside of you quote unquote outside of you, in other words, other people, other situations, without losing yourself. because you will be unable to discern what is aligned for you and what is not. And this is how we end up getting involved in things that don't concern us. This is how we end up missing our own calling. This is how we end up racking up karma by stepping into things that don't concern us. Again, what may look like it concerns everybody could be something that elevates somebody's soul contract because they're taking actions that are in alignment with what their soul wanted, or um, it could end up causing them to take on more karma and miss their mark because they're out of alignment with what is they're calling for themselves. So if this message is for you specifically or generally, this is a call to understand that yes, there's going to be chaos around you, outside of you, but you have to follow your own divine path, and and it seems like wherever you are right now seems that you're in the right frame of mind, you're willing to put in the work, and you're really moving upon your own inner guidance. So this Knight of Pentacles is the suggestion to continue to do so. Okay. Now, the person who's close to you, God bless you, who is occupying themselves, notice the words I'm saying, occupying themselves with things outside of them that may or may not appear to have to do with your stuff, that is for them to figure it out. Again, we are all living in a hall of mirrors, so to speak, and in other words, based on what it is that we are carrying inside of us that is unresolved, it gives rise to preferences and makes us think some things are important over other and all this stuff. And so a lot of times even we struggle to discern what has value and what is not. And when we view it from an outside perspective, we see that what people have been occupying themselves with is actually nothing but smoke and mirrors. So this is what I meant to all of you guys when we talked about only some things that you see and experience and witness in this physical plane are forms that are founded upon substance, reality with a capital R. This is the homework, discernment, what has value for you. Okay. Now, and the rest is just stuff that we made up as mankind with our fears and unresolved trauma and this and that, our egoic state, right? Fear-based stuff. Those will keep you wasting time in this world of matter. And if without discernment, you will believe that everything you feel and touch and see and taste and all that stuff is real, and it's not. Okay. So think of this as a signpost to follow your way. But I said that I just went to collect these cards and look at the lamppost now. Follow your way. This is not just for this person, but for all of you. And I guess that person's story was handpicked by spirit to come through because guess what? It serves the larger message for all of us. Thank you, God. All right. I just heard someone say, well, what do I do next? Follow your way. No, I'm kidding. You have to go inward. It could be to have a conversation, right? Sometimes hard conversations seem hard because it calls us to step into integrity, and stepping into integrity can be very difficult for some of us who are super introverted. Shout out, right? My 10 million Libran placements, people pleasing, God bless, right? I'm working on it, right? But sometimes we, especially when we're in a very strong structure, whether it's a relationship, a family, a workspace, we have to assert ourselves and inform other people about what our identity, our chosen identity is. You're always choosing what identity or self-concept you are, but sometimes you don't even notice that what you're actually choosing is to your detriment. And that's because it's a choice that's still at the subconscious level for you. And so this is why, you guys, it's very important to know thyself, do your shadow work, observe yourself, reflect, be mindful, so that you can better understand what the energies are that you're emitting out into the world. Right? God bless you, because that's what you're just getting to experience in your outside world. But if you don't recognize how the outside, what you're seeing, relates to the inside, it doesn't mean that what you're seeing outside doesn't relate to you. In fact, it's the opposite. It's that you have not yet found that source within yourself to even be able to recognize it outside of you and to make whatever changes to bring in more health and well-being you need to make. And so that's why when we say things like don't judge, your girl Jay, and it's me, I'm out here telling you guys don't do it. Just from your friendly local energy reader, I'm seeing it. Don't judge, because you do not know, you judge yourself, right? Forgive them, Father. They know not what they do. It's just you can't see it yet. And so therefore, as you continue to develop your inner wisdom, and so therefore you'll be able to recognize the likeness outside of you, you'll be moving towards the reality that, wow, I am everything and everything is me. But until you have that visceral movement, just listen to what I'm saying. Don't judge, observe, reflect, be mindful, make decisions that are in your highest alignment, that are based on love. Because the last thing you want to do is pick up that extra karma because you're acting out of pocket, because you didn't notice. I didn't notice that wasn't me. Yes. I just had a client a couple of days ago. God bless him. Shout out, you know who you are. And one of the things that came up in the session is I was affirming what he was noticing about something in his life, confidentiality. And I said, yeah, you have to remember that everything and everyone outside of you is just a reflection of you. So much so that before I came on here to have this session with you, I asked myself and I reminded myself to pay attention to what it is that you were reflecting back to me about myself. I knew I was going into session with myself because I can see from a higher perspective enough to know, oh, it's just me. But from this perspective, I don't see that as me. I see it as a totally different gender, a totally different everything, name, different body, different part of the world, different everything. But I understand that this and that can be true because it's all one. But the reality with a capital R is that there is no other person, right? So this goes back to one of the messages that we had brought through. I don't remember when, but it was more recently. And it was a reminder that as you observe your world and as you go to reflect upon it, and as you go to make decisions about it, and as you go to speak on it and act on it, always remember you must ask from which perspective am I viewing this? Because if you're viewing it from a higher perspective, you will see that it is just yourself that you engage with. If you view it from this 3D perspective, you will see it as another person, as another thing. And if you're not careful, you will allow your hate-based programming from your sociocultural programmings to inform you about what it is you look at and how you should deal with it and this and that. Before you know it, you're picking up karma left and right because you didn't recognize that you're putting hurtful energy out there. And who are you hurting? Yourself. It's just going to come right back to you, because chances are, if you are acting in that judgmental way outside of you and you're taking those kinds of actions, ignorantly or not, right? Then you definitely don't understand spiritual law. Spiritual law says everything is one. And we have our 7 spiritual laws. We understand that one of those spiritual laws is the law of karmic responsibility, or rather the law of responsibility. What you do outside of you will come back to you, because we understand the law of one says everything is one, everything is mind, it's just you. And so therefore, of course, it makes sense that what you do outside of you, you will one day experience again, right? So anyway, this is for for you guys, generally speaking. I know that it was presented in the format of being a specific person. Oh, there's our next. Oh, again, who this now? Who this better not be the same card. Okay, 8 of Pentacles. This is what is this energy? God is so good. 8 of Pentacles. Let's pull this energy. This card wanted to come out again. I'm going to gently leave it right there. Let's pull this energy in for this week. 8 of Pentacles. What I'm seeing here is this is the energy of unbotheredness. Unbotheredness. I'll say one more time for emphasis. Unbotheredness. Now, it doesn't mean don't bother me, I'm working, but it means I'm so busy, and the word here is engrossed. I'm so engrossed in what it is that I'm building, I'm creating, I'm making. Yeah, not so much making to distinguish. When we make things, it's with energies that don't have substance. It's thoughts and beliefs that don't have substance. They're not connected to love, right? But when we create, that's the difference. Anyway, but I'm so busy creating. But Spirit is saying when you set your intention, this is all of us that we're speaking to right now. When you set your intention for holy work, that means that it doesn't have to be in any specific industry, anything. It means that what it is that you're putting your intention to and your efforts to, hold on. It means that what you're putting your energies to and your intentions to, that you are doing it up, like creating this plan of yours, this taking the step first for yourself, and you're inviting through your action and your intention and your attention, you're inviting the Holy Spirit. This has nothing to do with religion. So if that just triggered you in some programming way, just release it. Okay. Think of it as the hands of the divine, hands of all that is, the hands of the creator, because there's the creator that doesn't have like movement and stuff, right? It's just holding everything intact. And it to have some type of form and movement here, like a bridge for us, there's also a sub entity, so to speak, that is put into what can I say? That is created, yeah, created for the sake of assisting us down here, because that highest frequency is way too high. It's way too high for us to even be able to sniff, to conceive of, right? Look at how we feel if just a piece of electricity zaps us. Imagine the full-on magnitude of the creator that created the universes and all of that. It's too much. So we do have that go-between. God bless. You can think of it as the hands of the divine, whatever, right? But when you invite the Holy Spirit in, or you can say when you invite God in, when you invite something higher than you, when you invite love in, this is discourse. You use whatever you want to say, okay? But when you invite that higher energy into whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's paying bills, whether it's creating something, whether it's having a conversation, whether it's going into a meeting, whether it's going to buy a shirt, whatever, when you invite something in, when you invite that in, what you're saying is, I would like to co-create. And that immediately pulls you out of the lower frequencies of just this low vibration, human, unevolved kind of vibe that's going on. And it pulls you into a higher, here's the word, expression of self. One that is enlivened by the only thing that can be alive, which is that source energy, which is that life force energy, that prana, that chi, that whatever you want to call it, universal energy, divine intelligence. That's what you create with. That's the kind of partnership that you move with when you're trying to move mountains, when you're trying to be of service with a capital S, when you're trying to find your joy, when you're trying to connect with yourself, when you're trying to create something that has meaning. Not only will spirit meet you at that level of your commitment and your willingness and your intention, your action steps and your prayer, productive prayer, but it will make sure that what it is that you create can be carried to all who need it. Okay? Because if you think about it, you're here to create. But you can't, from your level of perception, you can't see everything. You can't see who and who needs it, where the best application is for your stuff. Yeah, people can do market research, but come on now. That's the what do you call it? The sandbox. It's purely physical oriented. It's not going to see anything that is going to be everything. And so when you call upon spirit, you are saying, hey, I'm using creative energy, my creative energy, to create something that is joy inducing, something that is passionate for me. And I ask spirit to come through and to enliven me, to vitalize me, to work through me as I experience this joy, because that's what creative source energy is, and creative energy is, and passion, it's joy. So when you allow yourself to get into that joy space, you are pulling yourself out of this muck and mire and fear and into a higher expression of what? Of yourself. You can be up in that low expression, do you? Because you have it within you to make that free will choice while you're here. That's God's gift. You have such free will that you can choose even to turn away from that which is in alignment with your joy and health and well-being. But should you choose to turn towards it, then allow it to move you. And you do that by focusing on what brings you joy and moving through that and asking spirit to create the conditions for you. Notice I said create the conditions for you in your life to allow you to not only create and erect what is going to bring you joy, but to be able to witness that creation be brought into the lives of all of those who need it. Now, always remember that anything that brings you joy, and I'm not talking perverse joy, I'm not talking the kind of joy that is informed by your trauma, to the point that we start to associate pain with pleasure along the way in many different areas of our life. And so now we're doing things that are completely toxic to us, but we're getting a hit off of it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the joy that comes from fulfillment, of being used to by yourself, by source, to your highest capacity. Because when you are being used and moved in that way, it's a joyful thing because you're literally fulfilling your function. You're fulfilling your reason for being. So as I'm talking about all of that, I'm seeing these two cards want to come in. Who are you, cards? Look at this, the Three of Wands. So here we talk about as you move along this path of passion. Now, I'm in my mind, I'm like, why are we talking about all this? My conscious mind is always going while I'm channeling here. And the message, the answer is coming straight to me. The message is here. They're saying, let's continue. They're saying what's going on here is this week you can experience more joy in your life if that is your intention. So set the intention. By the way, we do have a full moon tomorrow on October 6th. Just putting that out there. Anyway, so it's a great time to release stuff so that you can bring in, so the new energies can come in. When we release, nature, what do you say? The universe abhors a vacuum. Yeah, that means when you create space somewhere, in comes something else. So if you're creating this space and you're releasing, and for somebody here, I felt that this is a person that you're releasing. I'm so sorry, but am I? Because this looks like it's the right thing to do. It felt romantic, okay? That you're releasing a romantic partner, or your hold on this romantic partner, whether or not you guys are still together, you still holding on to this guy. It feels like a guy, so good job on releasing. But as you release, as you let go, in alignment with spirit, because when you're letting stuff go, you ask spirit, you ask God, you ask something higher than you to assist you. And let's talk about this very quickly. When you're asking things that you perceive to be higher than you, please be careful. If you are asking help from some being, or you have a concept of a being that you also think you have to barter with, you have to worship, you have to give in order to, this is not what we're talking about. Because a lot of times people connect with what from our perspective we'll see as gods or demigods or ancestors, ancestral worship, all that stuff. And yes, you're connecting with something, but you may not be connecting with the highest expression. So you want to, whenever you're appealing and you're praying, that you're working with your angels, your guardian angel, if you'd like, and call upon your higher self as well. Go inward, call upon the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call upon that is up there, and trust that if those energies that you enjoy working with, or you like, you work with or whatever, are in alignment with what God wants to send you, you best be sure that they will be a part of it. They will be called to be part of it by God. This is a time to release, because a lot of people are dabbling, let's put it that way, in things and traditions and all of that, yes, it will produce things in your physical space, but right now is a call to higher frequency connection. So definitely start to release. I'm also getting that sometimes people have struggles manifesting because the means by which they manifest, or they choose to try to manifest, is flawed. And this is what I was saying again with some of these quote unquote, like, for example, ancestor worship and all that stuff, and working with certain books and working with certain energies, and just don't do it. I mean, do you? By your friendly local reader out here, you know me. If you've had a session with me, I'm here with you. And I'll always be non-judgmental, and I will always give you the straight shot as objectively as possible, right? Because I'm viewing from a higher perspective so that I can bring it to you. And so trust me when I say this is the time to unravel yourself from certain energies. Now, that doesn't mean that those energies are not energies you will work with. But what it does mean is that if you can bring yourself into alignment with your higher self, or let's just say the most high God, right? And just release your definition of that. Think about the most ancient. And this is not going to be an anthropomorphized energy. It's not going to get angry. It's not going to have condemnation. It's not going to ask you to obey. It's not going to punish you. It's not going to team up with you to bring anything up on anybody else. It doesn't do that. That's all man-made, fear-based stuff along the way. So we have a lot of traditions on this planet that give into that. But now's the time to release yourself from those things and call upon the highest expression and trust that if it's not love based, it's not going to be allowed to work in with you. But if you're choosing to work with energies that are not up there, that unconditional love, then you are choosing to align with something that is not the most high, then you will be engaging with some form of distortion. And a lot of times it's some type of being that you, from your limited perspective, will see as holy or some god or demigod or whatever, and you're not seeing it properly and you don't realize it, but in your energy field, you're compromising your own ability to bring through higher level frequencies. So that's a message for who that for? I don't know, but if you feel that's for you and you're just curious and you want to connect with me, hit me up on Etsy. And always remember, guys, your free will is your free will. And you come and you connect with me. I'm not asking you and shaming you and trying to get you to change anything about yourself. I'm just offering you information from a perspective that maybe you're not used to connecting with within yourself, because obviously you're wanting to work with someone who can bring aspects of yourself to you that maybe are in your blind spot or whatever. So come, we'll give you whatever that is, and then you go your way, you make your own decision. Normalize taking in information and then remembering that you could leave that information and choose not to work with it, but don't block yourself from receiving. Okay, just don't block yourself from receiving. Now, as I said, don't block yourself from receiving. There's somebody here who I literally saw you move, like, uh, those big poster boards, those triptychs that we usually, or even the triptych boards that we used in school to give presentations, right? It's like it was blocking, you had it between you and I guess me in this vision here. And you moved it because you're able to entertain this energy now. You're willing to listen because of what I just said. You don't have to, you can entertain energies and listen to things. No one's forcing you to give up your belief just because they're telling you something. Again, like that metaphor that I gave you guys before, or great analogy, it's like you go into like an ice cream shop, and of course they're going to give you little samples. You came in there kind of knowing what ice cream you want, but just because someone says, hey, do you want to try these 3 different samples, doesn't mean you have to buy that. So today, in today's world, a lot of people are so reactive that they literally block themselves off from even listening, right? So as I said that, and you moved that board to say, okay, I'm going to listen, immediately I felt all this dark energy come forward, but it's not my energy, it's your own energy. So I do want to let you guys all know, generally speaking, that when you remove your own blockages, in other words, when you decide to look at what you've been blocking off for yourself, that's all it is. In other words, when you choose to look at your shadows, in other words, when you choose to look at more of what you actually are carrying, the only thing that you will be met with is yourself. And if you are carrying an energy, a belief rather, that it may be so deeply embedded in you that you don't realize, but if you're carrying a belief that you are a horrible person, that you're a bad person, you're this and that. You may think you may conscious at the conscious mind level be the most boastful, most confident person. I'm this and that. But if you're carrying at that deep level this idea that I'm a bad person, that's what you're going to be met with when you remove things. So this is another call to remind everybody that as you engage in spiritual work, as you engage in working with your psychology, as you engage in just getting to know yourself a little bit more, don't scare yourself. The only energy that's being reflected back to you, whether it's through a rush of emotion, a rush of fear, or even just by somebody meeting somebody new outside of you, or even somebody that you already know coming at you with a certain energy or whatever, that's all your stuff coming back at you. So the minute you decide to look, understand that spirit is saying, all right, well, we're going to show you. And actually, spirit's not even saying that. It's spiritual law. You will always see yourself unless you block yourself from looking. And we do block ourselves from looking because it's painful, right? That's why we come down lifetime after lifetime after lifetime to bite just choop, 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 a little off of that ball of pain at a time, to chip away at it, because otherwise it would be too much. And so thank you for any moment, to this person and to whoever you guys are. Thank you at any moment for the bravery that it takes to see yourself, whether you see yourself through in another person in your world, or you see yourself in your emotions, right? In your ailments and stuff, coming to terms, accepting ailments in your body, all of this, all you're accepting are your own beliefs. So that's why we say, know thyself is the most powerful thing. When you are not afraid of yourself anymore, then anything that comes to you, whether you think it's a demon, or whether you think it's an alien, or whether you think it's an angel, or whether you think it's some mass murder, whatever you think it is, it's just a form that reflects an energy that you carry. So you make peace with inside what that represents for you. This does not mean you make peace and buddy up with whatever that form is that is coming to you. You protect yourself, right? But understand that until you heal by choosing to look at and process with spirit, with the Most High, who asks nothing from you. You don't have to light one candle. You don't have to pay one piece of coin. You don't have to give up you don't have to make any sacrifice. You don't have to worship and venerate. You don't have to do all that, because this is your birthright. It is your birthright to have vision. That is your natural state of being. You are source temporarily blocked from viewing things because you are in temporary amnesia. But the more that you decide to see who you are and to see what you're carrying, the more you will see, oh, shoot, I am love. So always remember, and this is going back to this card here where he said this person was so engrossed in their joy, in their creation, that didn't I tell you it was like insulation? It was like protection. That is your protection when you are so in such a high vibrational state of being, of self acceptance. When you accept yourself, you're no longer in that state of who am I? As long as you're asking, who am I? And you're living a life of who am I? You're carrying a core belief that I don't know what I am. It's literally a gap. It's a void. It's impartial knowledge. And so when you are moving with that, guess what comes in to keep trying to sell you about what you are? And you will believe it until you remember what you are. And hopefully you will align in this amnesic state, in this unknowing state. You will align with people like me. Hi, love you, who will remind you that you're powerful and that you need only shift something inside of you, to remind you that it's free 99, to remind you this is something you already know and you wanted a reminder down here. Here it is. Here it is. The world is yours because the world is of your own making, the world that you see. And always remember that the energy around you is directed, the particles, the photons, all that is directed by your own vibration. And what moves that vibration is, say it with me, your self concept. In other words, your identity. I guarantee you, you're still in I am victim mode. Get out of it. Yes, you've been working at it for lifetime after lifetime. Let's make a dent in it this lifetime. If you're carrying an I am inadequate wound, get out of it. I am poor, get out of it. These are the I ams that are so deeply rooted inside of you that you're experiencing physical problems with your health, money issues. All this is just the flow not being able to come to you, not because anyone is blocking it. You think that's what's happening, but at its core, it's matter that is being arranged around you to give you what you're putting out there, the vibration of lack, poverty, inadequacy. You've been victimhood. You've been working at this for lifetime. So if you're watching this video, understand that in this lifetime, you are at a level of awareness where you can really shake this. You just have to work on it. This is why we have this Three of Wands. As you release, see this beautiful carriage, it's spirit is coming in, but you have to make the decision to want spirit to come in. That means you have to start having an identity of providence. If you are truly a beloved child of God, then what could you be lacking? If you truly understood that you are lacking nothing, then what could you lose by giving away? How can you gain something by receiving something? We're all one. There's that, if you're truly a child of God, how could you ever do something wrong that can then be condemned, that could then be pardoned by whom? That could then, need forgiveness. That could then, these are all man-made concepts that are not thoughts of God. They exist in the realm of these lower frequencies. To remember what you are is to remember you can do no wrong. This is the innocence. And so if you're like, but hold on, sis, because that guy over there just killed all these puppies and kids, how is he? You have to understand that that's not the question you have to be asking. Because when you're asking those kinds of questions, you're pretty much saying, I believe in this reality, and I need what I'm seeing in this reality to be legitimized by what source is saying about me. Otherwise, I can't. If it doesn't match what I'm seeing here, then I can't believe it. You will never see what reality is, because people are still saying, I need to see it to believe it. They're completely upside down. You must believe it in order to see it made manifest outside. All you're seeing now is your own beliefs. The problem is you don't know what you believe because it's buried within you. And sometimes it's not buried so deeply. Your lack of self-awareness is just so lacking. And not just you. I mean, some of you are like, I'm doing a great job, and then you are, right? But this is the point. We cannot ask higher knowledge to explain everything about what we're seeing so that we can now believe higher knowledge. No, you understand what higher knowledge says. You are a child of God. That means you are divinely unlimited. You're changeless. You are fully provided for. Because what are you? You're one. In the state of oneness, there is no lack because everything is one. You have everything you need. The only reason why you're perceiving that you don't have everything you need is this temporary state of moving from the reality of omniscience, knowing everything, to partial understanding. It's the veil, it's the wiping of the mind, whatever. But don't buy into what you're seeing down here as the reality. No, you see what it is there and you navigate down here, but you move to a higher law. And it's your job on this planet to hone that higher knowledge by understanding spiritual law. Look it up. It's everywhere now. We're not back in the temples. We're not back in ancient Egypt where only a few, could be privy to this knowledge. It's everywhere, right? You can take mindful action. You can choose to cultivate discernment instead of judgment. You can choose to learn how to pray. Has nothing to do with religion. If you want to go route a religion, you can do that too. But tap into the love frequencies that flow through religions. And when you tap into the frequency of love that is within you, and if spirit says, oh, yeah, I know you want to work with this religion, spirit will move you and it will show you what about that religion to continue moving down the path with, because it is in alignment with spirit, and it will tell you what to completely throw away because it's trash, it's low frequency energy, it's man-made stuff, and you don't want to get involved in that. You want to be about love. Look at this, you want to be about love. When you're about love, it is an integrative force. It pulls you inward. It doesn't call for division. So immediately you see you're out of alignment with the world that we're in right now, because the world we're in right now is not something God created. Look at all the energies and the forms and the beliefs. These are not, you know, they're out of alignment. So you instead go within, because you have God within, and you 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 receive, you retrieve, you glean what love is, and you ask for love to be made manifest in your life, and you allow it, and you allow that pathway to open up before you so that you can navigate it. And that's how you walk this world. And when you do that, you're aligning with spiritual law. You're creating the conditions for health and well-being within your consciousness, within your energetic anatomy, and by default and by result in your physical body, and by default and by result in the physical world that you inhabit, that is your quote unquote environment. You're placing yourself along timelines that are worthy of that divine frequency that you've embodied. And then you are able to ground that divine frequency here and become a beacon of what? Of home, of love. And that is what attracts people who are ready to step into their higher awareness, into the love frequency, which is the truth of what we actually are. So this week, wow, big message. So this week, if you are feeling it, you're going to be guided. You're going to be guided this week to experience this. So wherever you find yourself, this cute hermit, like, hello, wherever you find yourself, take a moment, close your eyes, just three to 5 minutes, and say, yes, please. Spirit, guide the way. You can even say the God within, my true self, whatever. And always know that any modality, any forms, any beings that you like to work with, just they're going to, if they're worth their salt, they're totally going to be okay with you taking a pause to go inward and to connect directly for yourself, because you don't need go-betweens. You don't even need me. Who am I, right? God bless you. Who am I? I'm you. remember, right? So just trust. Anyway, God bless you guys. You know exactly where to find me this week. Take a moment, ask, and thou shalt receive. Because guess what? It's a perfect time with this full moon that's going to help us clear out all of our stuff. Stuff's going to come up. Let it go so that this new energy can follow and come in with you and your intention to be led. Mwah. Bye.